Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Beta Breakdown. This is part 2 of what they are calling the Big Balance Update. Part 1 covered all the big picture details of that balance update, so if you haven't seen that, that will not be described in this video, so make sure you check that out. This is the biggest and craziest thing that has ever happened to Empires and Puzzles, and I know that I have said that many times before, but they keep outdoing themselves. This is going to change 200 plus heroes, change the way that special skills work, change the way that battles are supposed to work. Like, it's really shifting it to a completely different thing. So make sure to watch that video. I know it's a lot of information to get through, but you're going to want to know because it is going to happen and it's going to be a huge adjustment. They're just treating the live game as a global beta for the biggest change that they've made in the history of Empires and Puzzles. Those are their own words, not even mine, so be sure to check that out. If you're getting frustrated with Empires and Puzzles, let me just say that Gemstone Legends probably has the things you're looking for. They have a mercy system that guarantees a legendary hero after a certain amount of pulls, and we're not just talking about a weak legendary hero from a pre-selected list. They have a wish list that you can put any hero in the game on to boost your chances of pulling that specific hero. They take into account player feedback, and many of the changes that have gone live in the game were based on player feedback or were player suggestions to begin with. They're even going to give you a free $50 starter bonus just for downloading from one of the links in the description. And if the earlier stuff somehow wasn't enough, you can be a hero in wars, even just using rare heroes only. They have tons of events that allow you to earn free 10 pulls and other very usable high-value stuff. Gemstone Legends really has a lot going for it, so come check it out if you're curious to see why tens of thousands of people have left Empires and Puzzles to come play. Alright, so for this video, we're going to go through every single hero with a proposed change to see what's going to be happening. Some of them are significant. I mentioned as a teaser in the first video that the regular version of Gazelle is going to be losing her heal over time, over turn, same thing, I guess. And the costume version, which has not even been out that long, is going to lose the heal completely. So, just a weird change to this hero that a lot of people have invested in already. So yeah, that's just to give you an idea of what kind of like the scope of what's happening. Some of them are going to be seeing less, but yeah, let's go through these. A lot of stat increases. So these are in alphabetical order, and we're just going to go through them all. That's the purpose of this video. So Adalinda, the blue hit 3, is just getting a big stat boost. They're ultimately trying to make the game play more in terms of stats than in terms of special skills, because they realize they have pushed these special skill numbers to an insane place where they just simply cannot keep doing that. They've essentially hit the ceiling of what is even possible, not even what's reasonable. So they're having to completely change the way that stats work to try to rebalance things. So you can think of these stat increases as nerfs to your special skill damage, because if the stats are higher, you're doing less damage. So that's the reason for this increase in a nutshell. Ajir, more stat increases. So not all these are going to have a lot to say. I'm not going to have a lot to say about them. I'm not going to read all the numbers just because you can look at them. But I guess we can look if they're all going to be increases. But some of them have changes to the way they actually function, and that's the kind of stuff that I want to spend a little more time discussing. And as the teaser that I mentioned about Gazelle losing her heal, a hero like Hawthorne, who's becoming extremely dominant as a healer, probably the most dominant healer when you factor in defense as well in the entire game. No change to her heal whatsoever. Just Gazelle's getting totally screwed for some reason. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to keep scrolling until we see some special skill changes. If you want to pause on any of these, again, they're in alphabetical order. Make sure that you just pause the video and you can see all that kind of stuff. So I haven't seen anything too crazy yet in terms of increases. Okay, so, wow. First one, big nerf to Costume Lassie. Direct damage reduced from 436 to 386. That's a big change. Amethyst, a very strong hero. Let's see what we've got. So, substantial stat increases, adjusted direct damage and amount of health absorbed by fiends. So the 200 down to 175, fiends from 32 to 19. That's pretty reasonable. She was too dominant. Very fast speed fiends that were taking 30% health was pretty ridiculous. Second mana charge, so it's just reducing the damage of the first hit, and the second charge from 50 down to 40. Hey, Anne finally gets a fucking nerf. God, now that she's been, now that other heroes have come out that are stronger than her, she gets a nerf finally. Like, she's not the most OP hero anymore that she was for a while. Direct damage reduced from 550 to 450. That should have happened a long time ago. Wow, I can't believe I'm actually seeing that happen. So hopefully Jove is getting a nerf as well, because if she's getting a nerf and Jove is not, then there's not balance, because Jove has a portal coming up, the new masked god family, and they want people to pull like crazy. So let's see. That'll give us some information and potentially explain why my attitude towards Small Giant can be so, or Zynga is really the culprit, why my attitude can be so pessimistic, because they do bullshit things like that. Anubis, poison damage increased by a tiny amount. Okay, that's pretty meaningless, especially because that's divided up over the 3 turns. So that's a change of 5 per turn. That's absolutely pointless. Aramis really needs to have a nerf. Yes, this is what needed to happen. He was strong, and I'm all for the fun that strong heroes can bring, but balance is most important to whether the game is fun or not, and he was totally out of balance. I mean, he was better than Alfreich for rush attack, and he's average speed, and she's very slow. That's a lack of balance. Boosted health reduced from 30 to 20. Ailment immunity is now dispellable. It should have been dispellable the whole time. Undispellable 4 turn is ridiculous. Okay. If I am trying to move through this a little bit more quickly for everyone's benefit. We're still on A here. So if you see any of these that are stat decreases, please call that out in the comments below. I don't think any of them will be, but just want to put that out there. And we'll move a little bit quicker because, like I said, we're still only on A. I'm just going to look for special skill changes. Athos, direct damage reduced from 470 to 440. He was a pretty ridiculously strong sniper for very fast speed, so that seems fair to me. And I give them a little bit more credit for that because the Musketeers are still a relatively new family, and typically they prop them up just to generate spending. All right. Bunch of stat changes here. Oh my god. Okay, that's Ether taunt. I thought they were reducing the costume taunt to 4 turns, but it's just the Ether taunt. So that's, yeah, I guess that was from the first video. All Ether taunts are going from 4 turns to 3 turns. I'm in favor of this. There didn't even used to be 4-turn taunt in the game, and now to get it for free without even having to match anything was pretty ridiculous. Brynhild, they slowed her down. That's just a straight up nerf. I don't see her anywhere. That's a ridiculous change. And no stat changes for her? Only the 5 stars get stat changes? So what I mentioned before is with the stat increases, you can think of that as a nerf to your special skill damage. With stat increases for 5 stars and no stat increases for 4 stars, you can also think of that as a nerf to all of your 4-star heroes, because they are not going to be performing. They're going to be taking more damage relative because they are getting left behind in terms of their stats. So not great for the game that they're making it all about legendaries only. Okay, that is a very weird change. Okay, sorry about whatever hammering sound that is. All right. Oh, I guess it says stats increased, so I guess you can just see if it says stats decreased. Chompers gets a slight increase in bleed damage, very slight, because it's only 2.5 per turn. Well, I don't understand why they even bother with that. Cinnamon gets a boost to frost damage, okay. Cleaver got a big, oh man. Cleaver gets a big nerf to the amount of health absorbed by fiends. Cleaver sucks. The only thing good about him was the fiends and the attack down, and nerfing the fiends. He's just a bad hero. I'm sorry to say it, but very low damage. Okay. Cleopatra, direct heal reduced. So we're seeing an overall... Oh, that's because the stats are increasing. So if it was... since it's a... getting too excited. Since the heal is a percentage, if HP was 100,000, for example, and you're healing 65%, that's going to be massive compared to if the HP is 1,000 and you're healing 65%. So I think that is ultimately reasonable. I think that's just adjusted to maintain balance and not to try to nerf her. Okay, Dartanian burn damage is increased. They need to just lower his snipe damage. A quick tangent here, just because it bothers me so much. Heroes like him, he's the red musketeer that snipes and does burn damage. Similar to Rain from the whatever event that is. If they kill with the snipe, there's no fire damage. If the fire damage on the initial hero kills the initial hero, it doesn't spread either. So it's so stupid. Just they should not hit very hard at all. It's like they're making it intentionally very difficult to land this ailment, which makes for not a very fun hero in my opinion. They did adjust the snipe percentage down a bit, but still. All right, Doxan. Honestly, no fucking clue who that even is. I think maybe he's one of the red heroes. Burn damage is increased a bit. All right, Echinite. Oh, damn, just a nerf to Echinite, and he wasn't even that widespread. Amethyst was, but Echinite's the green ninja that does counterattack with minions. Damage reduced on the first hit. Minion HP reduced. I guess again, that is consistent with HP increases. I think it's still going to be a little bit of a nerf. Like 16 down to 11 is pretty big. I'm not sure if he's getting a 5% gain. He's getting a gain of 70. That's about a 5% gain. So if someone wants to do the math, that might just be to keep it consistent. Since his health is going up, any percent-based HP things like minions or healing are going to have to go down to stay balanced. So if someone wants to do the math to see if the 5% loss is actually consistent with a 5% gain, it might even be better, but I just want to call that out. I'm not trying to be harshly unfair to them. I think they've made their bed and they're now sleeping in it, but I will call out things that I think are fair as well. So hopefully you give me some credit for trying to be balanced in my approach here. All right. And again, feel free to pause on any of these if you want to see specifically how the stats are going to change for a hero that you have. Fortuna is a masked god hero, the blue. Dispel effect removed. Weird. Fiend health reduced. Again, the fiends is like similar to the healing. It's an HP percent based thing. So if HP is going up, they're trying to drop this to keep it consistent. Freya's minions are not changing. That's interesting. Costume Freya gives 25% HP minions, so those are going to be even bigger, which is nice. It's kind of a buff. Ferdinand. Whoa. So Ferdinand's getting a stat. Wow, that's a big nerf to Ferdinand. Ferdinand was overpowered. He was pretty ridiculous and hard to fight against. Cleanse effect removed. That is massive. That is the nail in the coffin for him in a way. In addition to damage share effect removed. Damn. They're saying that they're not trying to kneecap any heroes. That might have been something I mentioned in the first video, but that is a kneecapping. Because the thing that made him so good was that if you put buff blocking on him, he would just remove it because he cleansed first and then put all his shit on. And with the increased defense and damage share, it was very hard to do anything. So removing those two, you're just getting a heal over turn and a defense boost. That sucks. I'm glad I never got him because I would have been really disappointed if this was the case. Do one of those things, not both of them. It's too much. And I don't even have him, and I think that's too much. So if you have him, I'm very sorry, honestly. All right. Gravemaker with the tiniest little buff ever. Another 3 damage per turn. Incredible. That's so stupid. Yeah, so, oh my god, this is the one that pisses me off the most because, oh god. Guardian Gazelle. Pretty small stat increases compared to the others. 40 health and only 14 defense. Heal over time effect removed. The thing that balanced Gazelle was that if you kill her when the effect is active, everyone loses all their mana and takes damage. So she had a slight heal over turn to help keep her alive. That was pretty fair, and in fact, she was still a bit hard to use because the heal over turn was small, and if she was already weakened when you fired her, then it's not going to bail you out. Costume came out, and now she heals everyone, and it's like, oh, awesome, that's just a better version of Gazelle. Direct healing removed. So she's just an attack booster. I mean, if that had been the way she was released from the start, I think that would have been okay, but this is a huge change compared to any of the other changes that we've seen so far. Most of them have been balanced, aside from Ferdinand, but Gazelle's getting a kneecapping here as well. That's like, now she's just a huge liability. I guess you would have to have another yellow, because like you used to be able to use her on a team like I used, which had 2 hit 3s, one of them with elemental defense down, and you could kill a side. Now you have to bring a healer with her, or she's just a liability that you might not even be able to use. No nerf to Hippo. Interesting. That is reassuring. She's been popping up in a lot of places lately. All right, Guardian Panther with another nerf. Damn. That's messed up. And this is what it should have been to begin with, but they do it in, like they do some of these that are way too aggressive, like Costume Krampus, Ferdinand. I think these are too aggressive. And then Panther, they do it so slowly, but then they do it again. All right. Wow, big nerf to Chico. Damn. I didn't find him that good. I mean, he wasn't bad. I'm not saying he's a bad hero, or he wasn't an elite hero. I don't think he needed to be nerfed, is what I'm trying to say. Direct damage reduction, counterattack reduced. It used to be 80, and then going up by 20 per turn. So that went up to 160, and now it's 80 going up to 125 only. Interesting. Not just interesting, that's kind of shitty. Oh! Wow, Hawthorne too, and really not that good. Not bad, again. He just was like, yeah, he was okay. Boosted health reduced, mana generation buff reduced. I'm glad I didn't max him, and I'm certainly not going to now. And I'm not trying to give the impression that these heroes are unusable. When I say something like that, it's factoring in my own roster and my own options. Just saying that is a nerf. That is definitely a nerf. And a lot of heroes are not being nerfed, so that's interesting. Hell costume direct damage reduced. Still non-cleansable, so she's still good, but that's probably fair. Hypnos. Are you fucking kidding me? They, for no reason, gave a massive boost to his damage, and now they're just cutting it back down again. So the ×1 charge, 220 down to 175, that's a big difference. And 320 to 315, that's a minor difference. Still has the good buff blocking, but like, why bother buffing them just to nerf them again later? Like, figure your shit out before you put it in the live game. This kind of stuff pisses me off. Yep, Ignacio, heal reduction, just because, again, HP is changing. Okay, so we looked at Gazelle. So this hero, he's getting 60 defense, so he's getting 4 times as much defense, and has a higher defense to begin with, and Gazelle was getting, 15, he's getting like 60, over 60, and health, close to 200, and I forget what she was getting, 50, something like that. So yeah, 4 times as high. That's just stupid. All right, Valhalla hero. Water damage is increased by 1 per turn. That's so stupid. Why even bother? Poison damage. These tiny dot increases are just silly. Oh, I know why. It's probably just... No, that doesn't even make sense either. I was thinking it's just to keep up with the health increases, but like 3 per turn is not keeping up with the health increase. Corrosive poison damage increase, tiny amount. Jakun is getting a damage reduction. That's interesting. Jove, big buff, okay, or big nerf, a big burf. All right, direct damage reduced from 530 to 450. I give them credit for this because this portal is upcoming, but that really needed to happen. He's still going to be very good, but he was way too much. Healing reduction from minus 75 to minus 50. All right, got to give credit where credit is due. Kara is getting nerfed. Interesting. Just less special skill protection. That doesn't seem justified, but okay. Khufu nerfed to his damage. Probably justified. He was overly strong. They buffed him too much to begin with. Again, another careless buff that is leading to a future nerf. He's still going to be good, but that's definitely a nerf. Clarinardi sucks, and that's just a tiny buff. Krampus, increasing buff defense reduced. Okay, not that he needed that. You see him nowhere anymore. Oh my god, poor guy, just kicking him when he's down already. All right, we're moving along here. I know it's taking a while. Leonidas' second costume damage reduction. That's probably fair because he reduces mana and gives defense down. Luina, direct damage reduction. Okay. So Liu Bei, no change in minion HP. That's very interesting. Oh, wow. Ludwig, big nerf. Damn, what the fuck? The ether reduction was already there, but buff duration from 6 to 5, which is going to affect the way that mana is accrued as well, and defense against special skills is reduced pretty significantly. Whoa, and I don't know how to say her name, but Ma'at, defense down reduction. But did we see one to Morel? We better see one to Morel if we're seeing one to her. Minus 34 to minus 30. Magni's second costume, yeah, he was a bit strong. Malin gets a boost, similar to what we've seen already. Matilda gets a tiny boost, pointless. So it's interesting to see all the minion heroes that are unaffected. Wow, Malena gets a big healing reduction. Damn, this is fucked up. Like Max has huge minion HP, no change. Miriam Midnight, stat changes. Morel, 34 to 30, interesting. So they're just trying to reduce what kind of defense down is present. I didn't see any change to Athena, though, which is nice because she has the best defense down in the game, I think, or at least did for a while. It's hard to keep up with all this. Nemesis, direct damage reduced on the ×1 charge. Nyx, direct damage reduced on 2 charges. Again, Nyx, like Hypnos, was buffed, and they just buffed her to nerf her again. That kind of stuff really pisses me off. Cool, and I just maxed second costume Obicon, and now they're nerfing him. 260 to 235. That's pretty weak. Counterattack reduced. Okay. Ojima, a lot of people invested in him. Direct damage reduced. Oni, no change. Otis, bleed damage increased. Man, there's a lot of shit in here. Sand damage increased. Peppermint, poison damage increased. Tiny bit. Perseus costume, no change. Phoenixia, Leidenbrock. Okay, so 6-turn taunt doesn't exist anymore. Defense buff reduced. So, yeah, Queen Anne, 6 down to 5. Defense buff reduced only by a little bit. Amount of mana reduced. So I think the mana reduction thing is their attempt at having battles not go too quickly, where it's like it's decided in the first turn whether you win or lose. I wonder if they're going to do away with rush attack, honestly, because that is just the epitome of you get the board or you lose. It's not 100% true, but I'd say that's 90% true. Queen of Hearts. Up nerf to Queen of Hearts. That's fucking ridiculous. She's like almost unplayable. Cleanse removed from Reese. What the hell? That's messed up. Ruby damage reduction. Serendite. Burn damage increased. Healing reduction lowered. Healing reduction lowered. Wow, the first charge here that we've seen all 3 levels changed. Oh, that's because it's an increase to dot damage, which we're seeing pretty much across the board. Surgery, defense down reduction. Defense reduction against dark lowered. Set. Shrubbear, ether taunt change. Stained tongue, poison damage increased. Sun Quan, burn increase. These are all predictable from what we've seen. Tetashiri does not do water damage. That is for Tethis. Alright, we're getting close to the end here. Tear, bleed damage. Water pipe, minion health cut in half. Holy shit. Okay, again, if someone wants to do the math here, based on the health change, will 6%, it's got to be a nerf, but 6% of 1645 compared to 12% of 1503. If anyone's willing to do these bits of math that I've called out along the way, I will be extremely appreciative of that because that's going to benefit everyone, including myself. So if you're willing to do that, thank you very much, but that looks like a big nerf. Zenda, burn damage increased. Zengar, I don't even know who Zengar is, but... Alright, those are all the changes. Let me know your thoughts right now while they're fresh in your head if you haven't done so already. Please hit the like button and subscribe to help other people find this video, help support the channel, help support your local Mr. Spock. And if you're tired of all this crap, just come to Gemstone Legends. It's a lot more player focused and driven by player feedback. So yeah, I recommend it. Download links in the description to get your free $50 starter bonus. So make sure you do not download from the App Store, download from the links in the description. That's the only way to make sure you get that bonus. That's that. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.